Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land as we make attempt number 3 or 4. I've lost count very quickly. We are live. We're trying to go live and we're trying to practice some magic for you today, as well as talk about some things that we are looking forward to in the future. So once I get all of the technical stuff out of the way, we will be able to get started. Fun times. Technology is amazing. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Haha, I am in fact live. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about is the routines and shows that I've been putting together. We're making some headway. I'm picking tricks, but I'm also creating the narrative. And I'm also been listening to a magic podcast that's really helped me along the way. So thank you, Chris Johnson, for that wonderful service. A lot of great information there. So when it comes to building magic routines, there has to be a story, a plot. There has to be a reason for you to follow along, and it has to be linear in such a beautiful way. Just like when we do our videos, if I do impromptu and my brain seems like it's going all over the place, it's because it is. Because it's just going everywhere. But when it comes to the idea of magic, you want to set up the idea and the premise. And so a card trick that I've been thinking about, it's not just a trick, but the performance piece, right? And this is just a rough idea for what I want to do, and I'm not even really sure where I want to go with it. So I want to start off with this idea, this build-up, this concept, because I have a couple of show ideas that, and I say show, like performance pieces, that I want to start with something that's a mystery. And then as I go through my entire show, people will keep getting, they'll keep bringing their attention back to that center piece that doesn't capitalize until the end. It doesn't come to fruition. It doesn't get to that point until the end. So I kind of like the idea of this jumbo card here. I just don't know what it is that I would do with it. For instance, I know I could say, hey Google, pick a card. It says the 3 of Diamonds. Now, if this card was your card, then that would be magical in itself. So when you think about what you're creating, even as you're building the tension, whether you have a mystery box or whether you have a jumbo playing card, and I wouldn't put it in the Rubik's Cube because I want to use the Rubik's Cube for other purposes, obviously. So, yes. Hi, Marzena Hayes. We'll answer that question here in a second. So as you're looking at your building tension, the first dot that you create, which is that point of mystery, you want to end there somewhere too. I've seen, for example, an individual did a nice mentalism trick where he picked an animal and he set it up. I don't think it was right at the beginning, but it was somewhere as he was transitioning into the middle. And then at the end he did his closer, but then he hit you, right? Because as he's walking away, he says, "Oh, that's right, you were thinking of an animal," and he says the animal. It creates this beautiful moment. So when you have something like this sitting out, and this is something that I'm just playing around with, the actual idea that I came up with originally was for an Easter show where I have a giant chocolate bunny sitting on the table the whole time. And I don't go anywhere near it, I don't do anything with it, and it's just sitting there until the end. So I think that's a great moment that I've built up. So I'm trying to think about it even though that when you're creating your show it might not be linear, you still want to have those dots being connected through the story. And in the case of this, it's always nice to have a mystery. Like Craig Petty, he does a destination box, and that's another individual that I watch. He has a lot of great information, and he'll have the destination box set up at the beginning. He hands out the box, he hands out the key to 2 different people. He does his magic routine throughout the whole thing, and then at the end, a signed card shows up in the box. It's been in the audience the whole time. So it's a beautiful premise, and that's kind of really the idea of that mystery setup, is having that mystery box at the beginning. In this case, we have a mystery card, and we had a card selected, which is was the 3 of Diamonds. And in this case, as far as the mystery goes, until you see the card, I could build up as much tension as possible. But if you go too far, people kind of get annoyed with it. If you don't go far enough, then you haven't built up enough tension. Especially if you say, when you're doing your trick, you have a card trick that you're like, I'm gonna have a card selected. Here's your card. I'm gonna put it back into the deck, and then I'm gonna show you your card. There wasn't enough build up. You gotta draw it out. You gotta, if you want to do the magician's fool, the magician making mistakes, things like that, then you're making mistakes, and then their card shows up at a possible location. You're drawing out the effect to that perfect level. In this case, what we have here is we have a jumbo card that no matter what they pick, it's 52 in one card. So no matter what card was chosen, your card is there. And so it comes across as a little bit of a joke, but then you're going to want to follow it up with having their card magically appear in an impossible location. So that's one way to go, and I'm working on it. I don't have anything set up for this particular trick yet, but if anybody's got some ideas, I'm fishing around to see what I can do with it. The way I want to do it, I don't want to use it with the Rubik's Cube, like I said, because I do want to do Rubik's Cube magic. So what I want to get is I want to get one of those catering card stands, the ones that you might put like in front of the food or on the table, things like that. So I can put the card in it, and I can spin it, and I can hold it up, and I can just have it setting out there as a display. And then that way, for that particular show idea, it's there to use when I'm ready, but people can just wonder what's going on with it the whole time. And it's the same idea. It's nothing different, because I don't have to have a deck of cards, which I don't always like to carry a deck of cards when I'm out and about, because I like to do other magic. I want to get better at performing magic and not just going to the cards, because I have hundreds of tricks that I could do with the cards, and not everybody really wants to see the cards. So we got a new bacon wand. And I like to use the bacon wand any chance I get. I got to practice my wand spins. I just have to keep the practicing going, right? I don't know if it's my forearms or what, but I struggle with the wand roll up the arms and back up. Probably just have to practice more. Maybe with the shirt too. Maybe that's a problem with the material. It's probably a whole list of things that I need to work on there. So it's good to have a little bit of a nice wand thing. We're going to use it a little bit later for some of the other magic that we're going to be practicing. But we're going to take a brief intermission before we jump into the Rubik's Cube thing that we've been working on. And Marzina asked how the rabbit out of the hat trick works. So how does the rabbit out of... Yeah. So we talked about that last time. There's a couple of different ways to handle it. Traditionally, you have to have a rabbit if you're doing like a traditional magician magic act where you have the rabbit. The hat is a gimmicked item, and you're just producing the rabbit from a hidden compartment. So it's not really something that should be a surprise at this point, but some other magicians who might not want to work with live animals have other ways of doing it. There is another contraption, which I won't explain how that works. It's a cage that the rabbit can escape from, things like that. So that's a beautiful trick as well. It's a great stage piece because there's things happening that just, it's magic in and of itself. And that's kind of something else that I like to talk about, and I keep bringing it up because this is what I'm studying right now. Joshua Jay's Magic in Mind. It's a book that if you're practicing magic, you should be reading. And because it's kind of a reference resource book, you're not going to read it from chapter. If you can, more power to you. But you're not going to read it all the way through. What you're going to do is you're going to pick sections to study, take some notes, and then you're going to have takeaways. And the reason why I really love that book is because it outlines magical effects in a way that allows you to break down your show to figure out how you want something to work. Now, if you're building your show based on the tricks that you have compiled, that's a it's kind of a strange approach, I guess, depending on if that's the way that you want to perform magic. You can pick pieces that are modular pieces that you know perform well, and then you can kind of interlink them together if that's your thing. Or if you want to build like a specific spectacular magic show, not that it's any better or worse depending on your style, is you create the story and then you find the magic that fits, so that it's a better way of storytelling for that type of show writing. And that, in my opinion, and that's what I've been trying to do. So that's why I do it that way. So what I have is I use my Live and in Color. Live and in Color. It's very spectacular. It's very it's a production piece. I mean, it doesn't mean it's grandeur, but it's a production piece because it's talking about psychology. It's talking about the implementation of color throughout history. It's talking about the effects that color have on the person. And so it's not just about the magic. It's also about the way that I'm going to portray myself, the way that I'm going to move around, the way that the lighting and the sound, which is going to be so important because it's telling a story, which is so pertinent to the overall. And it's a big undertaking, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do it as a small production and as a large production, because it's something that I might want to do. As a close-up show, I'm going to have to have backdropping. I'm going to have specific lighting with specific filters. And if I don't have the resources to perform this in a stage setting, then I'm going to have alternative ways to use the lighting, which is going to be so important to the narrative. Because I think that it's just going to be an interesting. So picture this, right? So picture the magician walking out on stage in a very black and white attire, and the lighting is filtered to black and white, so everything is just very neutral and in a gray state. And then as the magician starts to speak and starts to tell his story, color starts to move around the stage, and everything starts to come to life. It just sounds beautiful to me, and it's a very interesting concept because I'm trying to bring this vision to life of color coming to life. And so that's what we've really been working on lately, is not only performing, not even performing. I don't want to just do the trick. I want to perform the trick, and I want to bring to life the elements of the magic. So, next question by Marzina is, how does it take to be a magician? Well, here's what you got to do. You got to pick a prop or some type of magic trick, and you perform it for people, and you're a magician. That's the short answer. In order to be a magician, you have to be a practitioner of magic, and that means that you can consider yourself a magician as soon as you learn your first trick. That's it. That's really all you need to do, is just start performing magic. And there are so many great resources. I recommend doing a little bit of reading. I recommend some online training, tutelage, and of course, YouTube is a fantastic resource to get started. But then you're probably going to want to diversify your education as you grow, because again, it's not just about the magic, it's also about the communicative skills, it's also about the presentation skills, and of course, performance. And then if you want to take it to the professional level, then you're going to want to start communicating with business building marketers and all around. Like, there's script writing ideas, there's directorial ideas. If you're performing, then you're going to want to have a business network of individuals that you can communicate with, client lists, things like that. And if you're doing video work, then you might be talking editors and the like there. So there are so many potential outlets that you're going to be taking on as being a magician that's solo, that you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to be a jack of all trades. You might even have to take up some juggling, which I'm going to drop the reference book right here. Juggling. The book of juggling life or something like that. Let me look it up real quick, because I do want to give this resource out here as a good read. Let's see. Lessons from the Art of Juggling. So this is a book that it's not really about juggling in the sense of juggling balls, but it's within the context of how to juggle your work-life balance and to incorporate all the things in. So it's just a great resource to have on your end table, just something to have in your library. So there's my reference book of the day. So let's go ahead and do some magic, and then we'll go back to the chat here. So in the terms of Rubik's Cubes, what we have going on is it's the idea that you're solving a puzzle. Now, how do you solve a puzzle magically, right? And the best way that I could figure out how to do that is by creating the element of the story that's compelling, which in my recent video, what I did was I created this idea, which it was a true thing that happened. The local pizza shop was giving away free pizza slices if you could solve the cube in under a certain amount of time. So I took that idea from my everyday life and I built a story around it where I could solve the cube in just a couple of seconds so I could get the free pizza. And so that is that's the cube idea. Now, I also have this that I'd like to figure out how I'm going to use the Cube 52, which beautiful box, by the way. I love the way it slides out. I've got to get into that, and I've got to practice that. All of that is part of the Liven in Color idea. Now, whether I use these pieces in the Liven in Color, it depends on where I go with the story and the narrative, but I just liked having these pieces. And I also am looking at an EDC Everyday Carry Pocket Magic Show, which is items that you would normally find in an EDC Survivalist kit that also have a magic component. So we're talking pocket knives, keys, flashlight, matches, so there's all these ideas. It's basically a show that, like, my brother does EDC stuff, outdoor bushcraft, that's one of his hobbies. And so if I put together a kit, it's something that he could carry with him potentially, but then he could also break out some magic if he really wanted to. Now, I don't know if he really would, but that's the marriage of the two ideas. So that's something that's working in the background. And this wand, you just got to practice with it. Practice. This is a live practice, right? So practicing your different things and getting really good with those. And I just got this wand, and it's fun times, right? It's a beautiful wand. Rubik's Cube magic is very nice. Now, for my persona, we're going to get these out, and then we're going to take a look at the chat real quick. We're just going to, we're just moving along here. So I carry this with me every day, and I love these little card protectors. I got them from conjure.com. You can get them pretty much wherever. They're a little bit bigger than a business card holder, and this is for playing cards. And I carry 2 packet tricks in this one, and I carry them with me. And one of those packet tricks can be done in the hand. The other one is best on the table. I could do it in the hand, but it's best on the table. It's more of a presentation piece. So I basically have the 2 jokers and the snacks that you can win. But let's take a look at the chat. Some wizards use spellbook. Yeah, we're talking about in terms of fictitious magic, or rather like a specific genre of magic, rather, I'll say, not to be rude in any sense. Harry Potter. Yep, so Harry Potter does magic. He's a wizard that is born with it, which, depending on the context of magic, in that world, he's a wizard. And they can learn out of books. So I guess but being born with it might be more of a sorcerer. Really depends. So he does do magic. I've said before that I don't think Harry is a particularly good wizard. He's more of a rogue. He's good at sneaking around. He's got some great spells that he can break out, but as a technical wizard, Hermione obviously is far superior. So what we have here, a little bit of a nuanced thing that I've been trying to practice, is my hand motions and my keeping everything magical. So what I do is if I'm not holding something in my hands, then I will pull my sleeves up as much as I can. If I am holding something in my hand, then I will pull up the one, switch hands, and then pull up the other to make it as fair as possible. And we have the 2 jokers and we have the 2 snacks that you could win. You could potentially win here today. It's like a little carnival game with 4 cards. Now we're going to take those 4 cards and we're going to give you 2 of them. Now the first card for you today is going to be the candy, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're going to win some candy. Now let's go ahead and take a look at your second card, and that is going to be the chips. That's not really fair that you got both of them, but you know what? I'm really happy for you that you have won. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to these, and you can have those. Of course, you have the jokes, and I have the treats. Little switcheroo for you. So this is a beautiful little thing, and the way that I want to set up this conversation piece here is I do a trick. I have performed this live dozens of times now, and it's quick. It is a quick little opener with 4 cards. Nothing fancy, nothing special about this trick in the sense of it's just pure magic in the hands. It's a nice little switch that you can do, and I perform it for people, and they kind of they chuckle and they're like, "Wait, what? Like you just handed me the candy. Where's the candy?" And then I'm walking away and laughing because I've got the cards that they just saw that I handed them. So the next question there from Marzina is the box cut trick. So talking about sawing a lady in half. Now this is a classic in Magic, and it's the basic premise of that is you have an assistant who moves around. They get into the box. You see their head on one side, their feet on the other. The magician proceeds to cut them in half, spreads the box apart, grand gesture, magic, puts them back together. They pop out, bow. It's a beautiful piece, and there's actually a lot of different inspiration for that in a close-up. So there's a lot of like sword through chest. There's a lot of cutting stuff in half in your hands. They've actually taken that classic idea and they've made it portable because it is just a beautiful classic. Because you're talking about this overall idea, which is how can I make my magic look as magical as possible, but minimize what I'm doing in the background, so that it just looks like pure magic. And so in the case of sawing somebody in half, it's a beautiful trick. If you can go online and see how it's done. I don't want to spoil it. And also, I'm sure they've come up with methods that I'm just not thinking about, but the traditional method is pretty straightforward, and it's a beautiful piece of magic, especially for a nice stage performance. So I love this trick because it's a beautiful carry packet trick with 4 cards, and I don't have to pull out a deck of cards. I can just pull out 4 cards. The premise is pretty easy. I'm giving you 2 cards, and I'm taking 2 cards for myself, but the 2 cards that I gave you are not the 2 cards that you thought they were. And there's nothing happening here between, it's just 4 magic with 4 cards. And it's spectator interaction. This is something that's so important. We talked about recently in a video about the 5 points of building a magic show, and one of those is interaction with your spectator. Beautiful. Now, if I could, if I could get 7-Eleven to, I'd love to partner with 7-Eleven, and I keep asking them if I could buy some more cards, but the local 7-Eleven that I go to stopped carrying the decks in the store because people kept stealing them. And I was like, then just call me when the box comes in and I'll come and get it. I'll just pay for the whole brick. Can I order the brick from you? I just want the brick, which would give me access to those coupon cards, and then I could potentially give them out. I could, because I have done that both ways. Like, depending on if you have like a crowd that you can joke with, or if you really want to, for kids and stuff, you can be like, ha ha ha, I'm going to keep this. I'm a little sneaky trickster, like Swiper the Fox or whatever. But at the end, they get the coupons, and then you can, have your parents take you to get this. Or the slushy cards, I think, had coupons for slushies. So you could play around with the idea of your trading out. You're giving them coupons that they could go. They could go, hey, after you're done with the magic show, go ahead and go stop over at 7-Eleven and get some snacks if that's okay with the parents. So then it's a little bit of a takeaway too. So now you're giving them a leave behind as well as the interaction, and they've won something. So I kind of love the idea of incorporating all of that. The levitation trick. Levitation, lifting off the ground. It's a beautiful thing. Magnets, wires, a lot of different methods for that as well. Increased concentration. Ooh, it's beautiful. Then, yes, not everybody has a magic focus like a wand. Sometimes they just cast magic. In Harry Potter, only the highest level magicians have learned how to do nonverbal. Actually, they learn nonverbal, which is really important as you get to the higher end of Hogwarts. But then there's also wandless magic, which only a very specific number of wizards have achieved. So very important there. Let's do some coin magic. Here we go. Now, magic with a single coin, we drop the coin, and we don't actually have another one of those present. So, we're going to switch over to the change up. We're going to do something that we haven't done in quite a while. Beautiful. We're going to do, instead of doing what I had planned, we're going to do some different coin magic for you. This is my 2-for-1 special, right? So here's the idea. You've got a green coin and you've got a silver coin. We're going to take the green coin over here, and we're going to take the silver coin. Wait a second. No, that's just an illusion. They haven't actually switched places. See, the silver coin is here and the green coin is here, but they just keep switching places. Let's take a look at this in the light. You can see this in the top camera here. You can see it in the light here. Whoa! I almost dropped it, but that's okay. We've actually got the silver coin over here, but it just looks like it keeps switching places. But it's actually not doing that. That was a little sloppy, but there's the green coin there. We're going to simply take that into the hand. Now you think we've got both coins over here, so we're going to take the silver coin out, and you're probably wondering, where's the green coin? Well, the green coin, of course, is still right here because we're still following up with that illusion. Now, of course, we can do all of that because we have 2 coins. Ha-cha. So that's my 2-for-1 special, switching coins. And it's a beautiful transformation effect. But you already know the premise that there's 2 coins. So what I try to do is I try to do a simple one-ahead idea in the fact that I'm already telling you what I'm doing. Now it's your job to watch what I'm doing to see if you can catch it. And the reason why I do that is because there are some moments where some magic actually happens. If I can fool your brain into thinking that the coin is switching, that's fine. But the idea here, sneaky, is I'm trying to attune your brain to watching what I'm doing. Because I've challenged you. And so that's just one of those psychological principles where now you have to be invested based on the fact that it's a challenge. So now I'm kind of like, now I'm ahead in the fact that you know what I'm doing and now you got to catch me. And if you can catch me, great. You've already won. But have you? Because I've already told you what I'm doing. But if I fool you, then the magic is really happening in your brain now because the switches are clean. So that's the premise of that trick, and that's absolutely beautiful. Now let's take a look-see here what we got going on. How do I know Swiper the Fox? We're good buddies. We go back a long way. I just wish he didn't live a life of crime. I actually knew the guy he bought his mask from. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Dee Dee on Dexter's Laboratory? She's a character on Dexter's Laboratory. She is his sister, and she's very tall compared to him. Yeah. So there's some coin magic for you today. What I recommend, if you do card magic on the regular, I recommend practicing 1 or 2 coin tricks so that you can diversify your repertoire. And by all means, practice your card tricks. Do them. But also, every once in a while, break out that coin trick, because then it's going to show that that you're multi-talented in a way. You'll catch people off guard. Like, well, I know you can do cards, but can you do this? And then you're like, yeah, sure. And here you go. And you just make it look easy because you have it in your repertoire. Okay, we're going to go ahead and talk about my next thing, which is the old ring, the magic ring. We have a magic ring here, and this trick doesn't really work too well in a stationary setup. I really love I love doing this standing up and in front of people because I can move around. So let's see if I can do this. So the premise of this trick is that the ring is going to fall on the floor. Wowzers. Good thing we have another ring. Today is slippery and sweaty day, I guess. We have another ring. We're going to do it with this one. The ring is gone from this hand but appears onto this finger as if by magic. Alternatively, you can take that ring and throw it into the air and you can catch it as if by magic. Beautiful. Take this ring over to here now, and you can see that there's actually a big hole in this trick. Yeah, both cameras. You can see that there's a hole in this trick right here. And if you look at it closely, you can see that you can't see it. You can't see the hole? Yeah, the hole, it's right here. Magic. Beautiful. So that is a little rendition of a jumping ring that I have created. It's a 3-phase piece. But here's what I love about it. I can hand this ring out. Now you'll notice something about this ring that's a little bit different because I had to switch rings. And that's that this ring is actually a fidget ring because if you may have guessed, I potentially have ADHD and I like to jump around a lot. So having a little fidget ring, it's also my engagement ring. I always have it on me and I can it's like I can think about my significant other in a special hyperactive way. So there's that. But of course you can check that ring out. And while you're checking that ring out, we're going to do a little bit more magic by, yes, you've guessed it, we love color. So we're going to bring some color into our lives. Yes, by magical means. Ha-cha, we have a rainbow ribbon. Waha, but it's not really floating around. If we were out in the breeze, this would actually jump around a little bit, so that's fine. So you can take a look at the ribbon and you can take a look at the ring. And we're going to go ahead and put the ring through the ribbon. Now, I call this trick the ring through ribbon trick. It's trademarked. Yeah. I don't really have a name for it. I just know that what I love to do with this trick is I really accentuate the performance here as my opener piece because it's spectator interaction right from the beginning. I do the ring magic, which is quick, quick, quick. You see the ring jumping around. It's a fun time. But then I produce magically this ribbon while you're looking at the ring. And then I magically make the ring melt right through the ribbon. And what I will do is if I've got people pulling on it is I'll just be like, oh, don't pull my finger off. The last person pulled my finger off. I can't watch. You know what? I got to watch. I got to tell you what. No, I can't watch. No. And I'll build up the performance. I'll start sweating. And I'll just be like, oh, whew. And then what I love to do is I like to end it with this. It's just that little throwaway joke where I've got the ring on my thumb. And I say, I still haven't recovered from the last time when they pulled my thumb off. It's still got to heal. And it's a great time. So that is what I like to do with that. Now at the end, if I had my other ring, the ring goes on to my index finger, like so, and I pull the ribbon through like that because that ring is getting awful hungry. Yeah, it's a meat eater. I don't know. It's hungry. And what I'll do at this point, because I don't know, if I'm performing this for kids, I'll be like, hey, can you hear that? It burped. Because it's all filled up. Yep, it has completely devoured the ribbon. Yeah, the ring has completely devoured the ribbon. It is gone. And you can see, there it is. So that is the beautiful moment with the ring through silk. Fantastic. Let's take a look-see at what's going on here. You got big feet. Yeah, well, that was an artistic choice. Speaking of rings, Jesse, what is your thoughts on one ring from the Lord of the Rings? It's a very powerful magic ring of darkness that also has the ability to make you invisible to the physical realm. Unless you're being chased by the bad guys that the Dark Lord has sent after you. And of course, it's super addicting, so you just want to put it on. It just, it's very specific. That's the word. And of course, one of the best scenes from the book is when Tom puts the ring on his finger and he goes, huh. It's a pretty trinket because nothing happens. So, that's the One Ring. Now, the next thing I want to talk about should be down here in my pocket. Yes. I always carry a nice little sponge ball. Now, sponge balls are my absolute favorite magic because to me, it just looks like real magic. Now, the things that I like to carry are pretty simple. So, if I'm doing a carry around, 2 sponges is enough. Just do a little bit of magic with. If I'm going to do a close-up show, then I'm going to have more. That's just, I like to carry them so that I can do both. Because you never know, like if you're doing a magic show and if you widen out your potential and your marketability. So for instance, if somebody hires you for a specific show and you're like, I can do a close-up set. Or alternatively, the other way around. Let's say they hired you for a close-up set and you're like, hey, you know what? You've got a lot of people here. Why don't I do some crowd work? You're now more marketable and you can make more, but you're also more appealing to your clients. So a nice little sponge ball. This is a tricky sponge ball though, and I'll show you that little thing that I was doing earlier. I simply transfer the ball from one hand to the other as I pull up the sleeves. Now these sleeves are kind of tight on the forearm, but loose on the wrist, so they'll just fall back down. But if I have something that I can pull up, then I have potential for some sneakiness. But in this case, there's nothing sneaky going on. The ball is simply going from one hand to the other. Let's see if you can drop the ball. I have extras of those though, and that's what that's for. I don't know today is just one of those days where things are bouncing and jumping. Something to keep in mind that these are springy. They will bounce on you. So in this case, we're going to take the ball from here, and it is gone. And of course, I told you it's the tricky sponge because it jumps back to the pocket. Now we're going to place it into the hand. Oh, that was too quick. Let's do it slow down for you. We place it into the hand. Okay. Now we're going to take this ball and we're going to put it into the pocket. Yeah, into the pocket. Remember I told you it likes to jump around. It's beautiful. Now if we take the ball here and we put it into the hand like so, that was completely unnecessary. The ball is here, into the hand here. Can you guess what hands it's in? Just checking the chat real quick, see what's going on here. Hey Google, left or right? No. Hey Google, pick the left or right hand. You're no help. Oh. Good times. Either way, it's fine. It's fine. Google he's my worst critic. Google is my worst critic either way. So we've got some beautiful sponges here, and these sponges are very tricky. Like I said, they like to jump around. So for instance, they'll actually switch places if you let them. So this one will come here, this one will come here, and without even touching, they've actually switched places. Ah, it's beautiful. Very tricky. Okay, that's not good enough for you? Okay, we'll show you this way. One of them is a tricky sponge. The other one is not. And let me show you. Here it is. That's not a tricky sponge. This one is a tricky sponge. What we typically like to do is we like to put it into the cup. So tricky sponge is in the cup. My sponge... Wait. I told you that's a tricky sponge. Very tricky sponge. My sponge must have been the tricky sponge because it jumped to the cup. So you can do some sponge work while you're walking around, and it's absolutely beautiful. I carry this around. I practice with it. Sponges are fantastic. They work really, really well. And I think that's really all I had planned for today. So let's go back to the chat real quick and see what's going on here. Let's see. I think Golem and the Nazgul want the One Ring. What about Frodo Baggins? Is he holding it? Well, for most of the movie, yeah. Or book, yeah. Zomboomafu. Are you just trying to say words, funny words? I like your funny words, Magic Man. I'm not sure what that is, but we're going to go ahead and we are going to give it the old 2-minute countdown. So if you got any more questions, we'll do a quick Q&A. We had some interesting times here on this live magic. We dropped some stuff, almost everything. It's good. It's a good day. It's a great day to have a great day. So if you have anything else, Marzina, we'll go ahead and answer one or two other questions. Well, I'm trying to find the stuff that I dropped. I have a ring here somewhere. There it is. It's way over in the back. Well, that's going to have to wait. Both of those things just moved. They moved away from me. They're like, no, today is not for magic. So I do have this that I got to fix. It's just been bothering me. Now, maybe it was fine. I don't know. It's a beautiful little thing here. It's almost like magic. It changes color. That's why I liked it. It's green. Now it's blue. It's green. It changes into blue. I don't know. Seemed like a good purchase at the time. But yeah. 4:25, we're going to call it good here in a couple of minutes. We got a beautiful wand. Yeah. That's all we got for you today. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, but we do have a couple of minutes here. We got some new stuff that we're going to be practicing with. We're definitely going to have to practice more with this other stuff too, so we don't drop stuff. We do have some noise in the background. That's okay, though. It does happen from time to time. And yeah, I think we're going to call it good right here. I do appreciate you jumping on to the live. I hope to see you again. I hope our magic goes a little bit better next time. But that's what these tests are for. As the Grinch would say. And there we have it. I think we're going to call it good right here. So thank you, everybody. And remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome.